depends what you and you get rejected.
Work instead of having cocktails.
Lavish ones. You know, some of the solutions.
Considered to be the or, even though you set up a neighborhood killed so easily. So that's very important.
Preparing kids for real-world challenges is difficult to do in classrooms alone. Many companies have gotten involved in mentoring, promising students to give them direction and exposure. Jackie Jackson, the marketing director for AT&T, joins us today to share what's behind that effort. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about your experience. How did you get into the mentoring process?
Well, I'm the president of the Community Network. It's an AT&T resource group that does a lot of different things. We spend a third of our time mentoring students, raising money for local scholarships, and also we spend time in the community as well.
I would imagine part of this is the self-interest of corporations who see tomorrow's workforce and say, we've got to do something.
Absolutely, and there are actually 3 programs that we run and that I support. I spend a lot of time in the New York, New Jersey area with students, trying to encourage them a couple of things. First, it's really important to graduate from high school. I think 1 million teens a year drop out is one of the latest statistics. So we want to encourage them, one, stay in school, do well in school, and we also want to encourage them to pursue the sciences of science, technology, engineering, and math, because there are going to be quite a few jobs in the future in those areas, and we really are short a workforce to fill those.
You know, a couple of years ago, the then Secretary of Education in New Jersey came to a classroom and in a press conference said the state of affairs of our high schools was dismal. I mean, she really let the New Jersey educators have it. And I wonder if you're seeing that in New York and if that's part of what's fueling this process for mentoring. I
think the thing for me that inspires me to do the mentoring is the fact that I have a son who's in a sophomore in high school, and he's interested in video game design. And so as I look out at opportunities, he doesn't know how to pursue them. So going into high schools and talking to students help them understand, well, first you have an idea and an interest, and then you need to pursue that. A mentor can help with that, as well as looking at internship opportunities and bringing it all together for the students, and also encouraging them when they go to college to pursue those interests further.
And that's a great way to get students who may have a great idea and don't know where to go to turn it into something, to give them some direction.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. I was mentoring in the New Jersey area a couple of weeks ago, and one of the physics students said to me, I really would like to burn things. And I said, that's interesting. And he said to me, does AT&T have any jobs relating to that? And I paused and I smiled. I said, absolutely, yes, we do. And I encouraged him to pursue areas in computer science and soldering boards, as well as chemical engineering. And so at least he was encouraged in his hobby that there was a job for him in the future.
You know, teachers, when we interview teachers, they often talk about having to use the cool factor to get kids inspired to maintain their interest in things in the classroom, and I imagine you have to do some of that as well.
Oh, absolutely. A couple of weeks ago we went out with a couple of AT&T engineers, and more or less we shared with them the kind of cool jobs we have. As an example, one of the employees that came was hacking software for a living, so they tried to make our network more robust by penetrating it and making sure that no software could come in and cause a problem. And the kids looked at it and said, wow, I didn't even know those kind of jobs existed. And really we like to get that spark going in the kids' eyes to spark their interest to study more, do better in high school, and also to pursue those areas as they go to college, and to encourage them to go to college.
Based on your own experience, for other businesses who may be watching, what would you say to them about your experience, whether it's worthwhile?
Oh, absolutely. I think mentoring is very rewarding, so I would encourage them to find an area where they can provide an impact, but the high schools are full of students who are really like sponges. They're really hungry to learn more about the world around them. I know growing up, my family were immigrants to the United States from Belize, and I never would have known the kind of jobs that I currently do if someone hadn't expressed or shared them with me. So I encourage companies all around the country and around the world to consider mentoring as a way to open the eyes of the students, and in the future maybe get some talented resources back into their companies.
There you go. It goes back to that old African proverb, each one teach one.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today, Jackie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.